Hi. Okay, good morning everyone. So today we are going to teach about the poem, like the traveling coin. That is on page 100 of your textbook. And you're supposed to do the reading aloud yesterday. You have listened to the soundtrack and read about the poem. So, okay, let's just turn to your textbook, like page 100, and then we'll talk a little bit more about this poem, the traveling coin. Alright, so quick question for today. So, do you have a coin collection? And do you have a favorite coin? Do you collect coins? I say that if you travel to overseas and then you collect a bunch of coins, or among them, do you have any favorite ones? So, feel free to write in the comments, and if you have any interesting ones. Oh, okay. So, okay, I'll just quickly if you have any coin collection, just let me know in the comments. But if you don't, anyway, I'll tell you about my coins, and then I do have some coin collection, and among all my favorite one is this one. And this is a United States half dollar, and this is uncommon, for multiple reasons, because in the US the coin that has more value than a quarter, that is a 1/4 of a dollar, is not common. See, this one is not a common coin. It's an interesting one. But there's a reason that I particularly like this one. Multiple reasons, and what do you want to guess? Any reason that why I should like this one? Do you think that it's because of John F. Kennedy, the president from the 70s, or do I like the seal of the United States? Actually, I don't like John Kennedy. Sorry, and particularly he got assassinated. It's not a good sign. But I do like this one, and then they have a seal of the United States, and it's as cool as the $1 bill. But proceed. And that's another thing that I like about this coin because of my volunteer job. My volunteer job is a American football referee, so just like any kind of referee, so except the basketball one, of course. So even in soccer, before the game, you have a coin toss, and then you ask the visiting team, so caught in the air, and then just flip the coin, and then each team win the team that win the coin toss can decide whether to receive the ball, and then they defer it, or on and on. And then one of the coolest thing about this coin, because it's big, this is the biggest coin, a circulating coin that I know anyway, but this is a sidetrack, and yeah, and then it's very easy, it's very visible, and then you can easily tell it's a head or it's a tail anyway. But if you're curious, and this is a coin right here, that's the referee doing the coin toss, and I just like this guy, except maybe the setting a little bit different, but anyway. So okay, let's just go back to today's poem about the traveling coin. Okay, so first thing about this poem, I want you to understand some device of a poem. So you can just look back to your book, and then I'll going on and talk about these. Okay, so you see that on the corner I wrote stanza 1, and then okay, stanza 1, okay. And then you have these 4 lines here. Does anyone want to guess what this word means, stanza? Before I can tell you anything about poem, you need to know about these poetic device, and then what is stanza. So stanza is similar to a reading pieces, and then it is basically a paragraph. So normally in a stanza, they are always in even numbers. So numbers. So this one, 4 lines. Or most of the time, 4 lines. Anyway, so this is a stanza, but say that okay, how do you tell it's a stanza? And then normally I say that if this is supposed to be line 5 or line 6, and then they have blank space. Anyway, this is a stanza, and this is a really easy to tell when a setting of a poem is changing. Say that the poem have like multiple narrator， 一篇詩有唔同嘅演講嘅人啦，即係例如一段係個詩人講，一段係個主角講，一段係配角講嘅時候。So stanza is a really good way like to distinguish them. Like say that like who's the narrator like in this stanza? Okay, this is a stanza, and then like I want you to know the other thing is rhyme scheme. So in RHYME and SCHEME rhyme scheme, one rhyme, that's what rhyme means. Okay. And then like each poem, they normally have a different rhyme scheme. That means that like you have to tell, normally we are talking about like the end of the sentence. Say that like this one. So the last word of the sentence, like this one. Like stanza 1, like this is like from like line 1, this is go, 0, oops, I'll highlight it here, go, 0, left, down. These are the determining like the rhyming scheme, the rhyme scheme. So just like by the look at it, can you tell me like which two were their rhyme? 我俾啲提示你 ，okay, I give you some hint already. So like basically there were like two two word rhyme with each other, and then like the other two rhyme with each other. Like what do you think? Well, by the look at it, you can tell it is go and 0. Like they are in a bond. And the word left and dab, they like the same. So it's easy to tell. Like say that like this one is go, 0, and they even like have a similar ending. They might not be like a perfect rhyme, but like but you can really tell by the look of it. So say that like LEFT and even like DB together. Go, 0. Go, 0. They rhyme together. What about like the next two? She gave me to her accountant when she had nothing left. He said that he always saved and he never got into debt. And then left, debt, they rhyme. So okay, so like these two, we can tell that it rhymes. And then like just a moment, and then okay, and then like you can tell like as I mentioned that like go and 0, and then like they rhyme and left and dab. So for the like a sentence, so and then like for go and 0, like these two sentences, we call it a couplet. Couplet, so COUPLET. So it's like when like two lines they rhyme with each other, it's a couplet. So and then you can tell there are like two couplets like here. The one in line 1, line 2, line 3 and line 4. They are couplet like with each other. Okay, these are some of it. Okay. And then in a grammar scheme, like we normally give them like give them some marks about it, and then like okay, because the word like go and 0 they are together. So in a rhyme scheme, we give him like just give him a letter. Say that like it's A, and then like I'll use a different color, and then because left they are together, it's like an A and B. So, and then like I asked you how to like find the remaining rhyming scheme and stanza 2 and stanza 3. Alright? So now like you know, okay, since I already like gave the like line 1 and line 2 as like an A, and then line 3 and line 4 as a B. So how about for the remaining stanza, and you just mark like the remaining couplet, and just by using like C, D, E, F, and go on and on. And what will you find? Well, you will find they are and then you find the poem stanza 1 is A, B, B, C, C, D, D. And for the last one, it does not fit into any of the category. So this is like an interesting thing to notice. This is called a nursery rhyme. That means that something that is not quite serious, just like a joke. Because the rhyming scheme is in A, B, B, C, C, D, D. So if the couplet they are next to each other, normally it's a tone for the narrator. It's not that serious, but that's a side story. Anyway, now you figure out OK， 我用中文解釋一次。嗱，當我哋喺呢度揾到佢個 rhyming scheme， 頭先我哋係話兩句一樣嘅，我哋就個結尾一樣嘅 rhyme 嘅押韻嘅，我哋就俾個字母佢。所以頭先 stanza 1嘅時候，第一節嘅時候，我哋就揾到第一同第二句係一樣，第三、第四句係一樣，而且我哋就將佢第一、第二編成叫做 A， 因為佢兩個嘅 rhyme scheme 一樣 ，B 冇問題。然後第二節一樣，我哋都要你再睇落去，你就發覺 C D D E F， 最後第四節嗰個佢係得一句嘅啫，所以咧就係唔屬於喺呢個嘅環節嘅。同埋喺呢個 couplet 裏面，通常咧如果兩句 couplet 係擺埋一齊押韻嘅一齊嘅時候咧，通常係代表咗呢篇嘅詩就會比較上輕鬆啊，比較唔係話啲好認真啊、好開玩笑嘅感覺嘅。因為高階嘅詩通常咧會係 A B C D 會相反嘅，係喺呢個位置係中間倒轉嘅。但係當然呢個後話嚟㗎啦。但係點解你要知？因為到時聽日嘅功課我就要你交個首詩出嚟啦。係好，咁你到時就會決定你自己用咩 couplet 去寫啦，喺邊個 rhyme scheme。好，繼續。Okay, so now we figure these Now we figure out the rhyme scheme in a couplet, and we know what stanza is. And now I'll tell you another thing important. Another important thing about a poem in a rhyme scheme is in overall it's called meter. So meter means that in each each line, how many syllables? Syllables do they have? Syllables 即係音節 ，meter 意思即係話一句有幾多個音節。Okay, how about we just start to count this one? Okay, line 1 here. Sandy was an artist who were you me, but soon I had to go. 16. And then her check bounced after she had emptied her account to 0. 15. Well, I've done the remaining calculating, and this is 16, and this is 14 and 16. Anyway, although this poem is not written in identical a meter, that means that each line does not have the identical syllables, but at least they don't vary much. You see that 16, 14. And if you continue to count the fewest syllables in this poem is only 14. That means that when you write a poem, even if you are not really going into identical meter, you have to know that you should not vary the syllables that much. 我解釋一次，呢個16、15、14、16係咩咧？呢個就係佢嘅meter。你每一句裏面你就可以數佢有幾多個音節，幾多個 syllable。好似第一個，頭先我數咗 Sandy was an artist 咁樣啦，咁我數係16個音節，呢個15、14、16。雖然呢首詩佢唔係成首詩用佢唯一最整齊嘅音節數量， 但係你可以見得到呢首詩佢嘅音節數目唔係差好遠，最多係16，最低14，就知道意思係話你唔可以寫詩嘅時候，就算你唔跟佢個音節，你都會將佢個數目咧，呢度得16個音節，下面嗰個得個8個音節唔得，你要去睇到佢知道咧，佢中間啲音節數目咧係唔可以差太遠嘅。Okay, so like in some like a really cool poem say that written by like Shakespeare, they will say iambic pentameter. That means that like each line have like 10 syllables. So that means like anyway, but that's like a side note. So anyway, proceed. Okay, so I'll continue and then like how about like let's just continue like to read through this one. Okay. And then like so Sandy was an artist who rarely me. Does anyone know those words? Okay, so you see that like Sandy was an artist who valued me, and then like 佢話佢重視我啦。But soon I had to go. Her checks bounced after like she emptied her account to 0, and then like the word checks 呢個有陣時間中我哋會見到人哋咁拼，呢個係美式英文。下面嗰個係英式英文 checks bounce 呢個唔係講跳啊嘛，平時跳好咁佢 check bounce 意思即係彈跳，英文譯過嚟㗎，所以平時中文聽彈跳。After she emptied her account to 0, and then she gave me an accountant when she had nothing left, and then like 佢俾我一個 accountant 啦，將我俾一個咁佢 said always save and he never got into that。咁呢個我哋就先頭我哋查晒字典，咁冇問題嘅話。咁呢個就解釋緊佢第一個點解呢個個 stanza 咁頭先就解釋咗嗰啲 stanza 有咩唔同，有咩重要呢？就係因為佢改變咗個場景，因為去到 stanza 2佢已經係變咗去另一個場景。雖然呢次唔係另一個嘅 narrator， 但係另一個場景。Okay, for this one, so why did I mention about like the importance of stanza? Because in each stanza they have like different settings, and then like it just give the readers an idea. Oh, like this is the setting, like where the corn is with like Sandy, and then like with the next one, and then we know like it's with like a different setting, and then I'll just like go on, and then we will understand like. And then we will know about like the next setting. Okay, so now like we like look at like this one, stanza 2. The accountant gave me to his nephew a game app designer called Wing, whose favorite thing was using his credit card to buy new games. He left me at the back of his drawer as he was always on his phone. It was time to go as I felt rather ignored and alone. So now, the signal. Okay, now we know that like the coin is with like the content, and the accountant like in this stanza just gave it to the nephew. And then now it's a different setting than the one like when the coin with Sandy, and that's why like standards too like it's important. And then now we just like pay attention to some of the rhyming scheme right here. Okay, you see the word like alone, phone, they are identical. Is apparently they are DD. And then what about like these two? Wing, game. Does it rhyme? Does it sound like it rhyme? I'm just right here. Does it rhyme? What do you think? Game, games, wing. Maybe if the word does not have an S, maybe it rhymes. So I am telling you, they actually don't rhyme. They are near rhyme, not like actual rhyme. Game, games, wing 點解呢兩個唔啱呢？因為如果係冇咗 s game wing 咁就係 near rhyme，即係好接近嘅。但係呢一個係兩個唔算係 rhyme，只不過係好相似，只不過唔係 rhyme。但係因為呢首 because this poem is not like a serious like a makes in serious making, so and that's why they don't have identical rhyme, and actually it happened in sense of what I explained to you later. Okay, and then 呢兩個雖然咧佢唔係一個完整嘅 rhyme 啦，兩個一齊啦，但係其實佢哋兩個係有啲相似嘅，因為呢首詩亦都唔係一首好犀利嘅作品啦，都只係一個大家係個作者玩下嘅作品啦，一個頭先形容過 AABB 係 nursery rhyme 嘅作品啦，所以佢用 Wing Games 呢兩個唔算係完整嘅 rhyme， 但係一樣啲人都覺得冇問題，係啦。咁咧好 ，so here I'll explain a little bit more about here. How about we count the syllables again? Does it vary much? Okay, I'll just give you a moment and then count this one. I'll give you so how many syllables in line 1? What do you think? The accountant gave me to his nephew a game app designer called Wing. 18, right? So here. Whose favorite thing was using his credit card to buy new games? 15. Okay, for the remaining, I actually counted for you, and it's 18 and 15. So these are some of the interesting part about about meter. Make sure that even if they are not identical rhyme, make sure the number of the syllables they are similar. Okay. Alright, so for this one, analyze stanza, and now we know about the rhyme scheme, these two, the couplet and the meter, and now we just have to go to thinking about this poem imagery, because poem, the difference between a poem and a paragraph, not just because it's written in more a beautiful language, but also it strikes you with an image. 佢又俾你喺個腦裏面諗多幅圖畫出嚟。Kind of become Wayne who's favorite using credit card to buy new games. When and then cause normally say that in this line, the line line number 6 see here, whose favorite thing was using his credit card to buy new games. This is a poetic device. That means that it's a tricks that they use in writing a poem, because normally you don't say it this way in a regular English, right? Say that oh, Kong Wayne who say that if you're doing your actual writing, not a poem, you say oh, who loves to use credit card to buy new games. Not whose favorite thing was using his credit card to buy new games. This is something that about poem. Make sure when you write a poem, that's your task for tomorrow, and then you think about whose favorite thing? Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, he's thinking about his favorite thing to do, and then that's some other interesting thing about poem. And he left me at the back of his drawer, and he's always on his phone. It was time to go, as if I rather ignore and alone. And now, because this one is strike a image about oh, Wayne, the new owner of the corn, he only uses credit card. Say that do you have Alipay or Apple Pay, and then you use a cashless payment. You don't have to pay in cash. So it's the same thing for me. I use my credit card a lot. I use my automatic cards with a tap, a top up. And then I don't use my actual coin that much anyway. I actually find it's a burden because they're heavy, and then so it's the same thing. And the corn he felt like oh he always left in the back of the drawer 喺佢嘅櫃桶後面啦 and it's all as is always on his phone 佢成日都長期咧都係玩緊電話嘅咁佢覺得 it was time to go as I found water ignored and alone 佢就覺得我係時候要離開啦因為我覺得冇人重視我同埋好孤單啊咁呢個 this is like something about like poem it's strictly the image not just about like oh like he doesn't use me much and then like in a paragraph it is boring and like this and then like using like the corn as a narrator and give you the idea about like how lonely like the corn felt okay proceed okay stanza 3 and stanza 4 and then like off I went and found a mad scientist when the word like here the word like mad like the word like mad scientist like they always like go with each other mean that like some crazy scientist that's what it mean like 瘋狂嘅科學家 who had crazy hair and a beard he put me in a glass of fizzy liquid that felt rather weird it tickled and giggled but then I glittered like the sun but I'm still looking for that special someone and then like here the word glitter mean 發光 and then like normally like when we talk about glitter just like when you read from your book and like the word art in your book it means that like it grow like a gold like this gold okay and then like but I'm still looking for that special someone and now okay we saw that like this one is stanza 3 and stanza 4 why do you think that like they have like some special line here we only have one line does not come with anything what do you think well that's like a multiple like account you can like come up with maybe like this one doesn't go with here and then it's more interesting this like a poem it come with like a odd number of lines whenever the odd number like as contrast as even number 單數嘅都一個好有趣嘅事情 okay so now we look at this one and then like have a different setting with the mad scientist 佢有一個佢形容 who had a crazy hair and like beard and then like 瘋狂嘅頭髮 so if you draw him maybe like this and then like have a beard like this I like to think that like he has a glass and then like that's what a mad scientist would look like and then put me into like a frizzy glass of like liquid that like I don't really think that like it's bubbly and then like he found water weird it tickled and tickled but like then I glitter like the sun that means that like the dollar corn shines see that's what a poem can do to you and it give you like all this like image about like a poem about like all this like information and then like a person who will keep me safe and treasure me and then like who do you think this person is a person who will keep me safe and treasure me that means that like okay the corn that's not happy with Sandy like the one that like broke that's not happy with Wayne like the game that decided never use the corn and now like the corn does not satisfy with her third owner like the mad scientist and now you have like this line a person who keep me safe well this is like a your homework question and cause like you do like an either like a exercise on like 101 and then I'll give it to you like on Google form later today and then like you work on this one but prior to that like I want to show you something about like how to do your like tomorrow's your homework because tomorrow you are supposed to write a piece of poem exciting okay so it doesn't really matter like how many okay so for each poem like you have to have like stanza so like I require you to have at least like 2 stanza and rhyme scheme yes like I want you like to make sure that like in your poem like your homework tomorrow you have a rhyme scheme that means that couplet they always go together and for the word meter that is like a question of open anyway that mean tomorrow okay 聽日你交功課就係一個寫詩，咁呢個題材你可以自己決定，但係呢，我陣間會再講多少少。呢個你哋呢就要寫兩個 stanza，two stanza，即係意思係兩節，然後兩節嘅話，即係最少係要寫8句。然後 rhyme scheme couplet 呢兩個就包埋㗎啦，即係你每句最尾一個一定要有押韻啦，同埋一定係個 couplet 兩組，即係好似咁樣 A B B C C D D。Near rhyme is acceptable, near rhyme, and then like meter, like the one that like I count the syllable, that's like up to you. And I'll show you some interesting device, and then you tell like the thing about meter, and you can decide it on your own. Okay. Okay, so and then like I'll show you about like this interesting cause like the last poem. Okay, because the last poem doesn't show you much about the meter, and I decided like to show you like this poem, and then you can see a little bit more about like a meter. Okay, this is like a really famous poem, this is a really famous poem from an American poet, and shout out to my friend Stephanie, and who introduced me to this poem anyway. So this is like a poem by Robert Frost, and you can just read it together. Two roads diverge in a yellow wood that if line, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler long I stood. That means that like all of these lines, they have how many syllables? I counted already. 9. Like all of these, they have 9 syllables, and this is like a closed meter. And then like when you look at it, just by looking at it, can you tell me like which two they are right? Well, how about this one? The one that like N-O-D, they both N-O-D. Stood, would. What else? Grove, both. They also will like end with the TH sound. Maybe. Well, this is like an odd one. The good one is an odd one out, but that means that it doesn't come with any rhyme. But here, this interesting part about it, they are all with 9 syllables. Okay, I explain it. This one. 你數每一句，佢裏面都係發覺頭先嗰首詩，我哋自己讀嗰個 Calvin Con 你唔覺，但係呢首詩你數佢係全部 two roads diverge in a yellow wood， 全部都係有9個音字係啦。然後你發覺佢個 rhyming scheme 係 A B A 呢個唔係嘅，因為呢個係一個 stanza 得5句。同埋 B 呢度係一個好有趣嘅，但係你可以見到佢全部都係9個音字 ，because the way you pronounce it, each line they have 9 identical syllable. It make you some idea to say that oh wow, I'm reading a poem that have really close relation, each line have co-relationship with each other. Okay, and then I'll show you some. Okay, now you see how a poem's supposed to go, and then if you're interested, and you can just read this poem by yourself. It's called the road not taken, and it's always it's actually written in a really simple language. Anyway, I'll show you another important thing that you need to know for using your. Okay, this is a poet's treasure, and then why? Because this is a rhyming dictionary, yeah. And then actually this kind of thing help you to do a lot of hassle work. It used to be thing that oh, that's such a difficult task, but now it isn't, and I will show you why. Okay, here you just punch whatever word here, and then you punch search, and then you have a lot of word here. Say that like remember the one that like in a poem they talk about like zero, right? So how about I write zero here? Okay, make sure that like if you search zero here, and then like if you gave you a lot of cool stuff. And then like I punch zero, and then like this one just like give me all the ideas about like a different idea words, and then like oh, so the one in bold, that mean in blue, that mean they identical rhyme, that mean it is the exact rhyme. So how many words that like you recognize here? Maybe here. Hero. Does anyone know hero mean? 英雄. So here, like you can see, like a lot of like say that like because I punched zero, and now I know the word hero rhyme with zero. And then when you write your poem, when you're writing your couplet, and you know which word you're supposed to put in the end, isn't that like cool? 我再講一次你解釋嘅聽。頭先嗰首詩，我哋嘅 travelling con 裏面有一句就講 zero 嗰個字，咁咧 zero 佢喺個最尾嗰句字啊嘛，咁你就喺上面去 search 搜尋，然後就揾邊隻字係同佢 rhyme， 邊隻字係同佢一樣係一模一樣嘅押韻，咁你就會揾到哦，原來喺度你就揾下成篇，哦邊一隻字咧？呢度煲咗即係粗體藍色粗體嗰啲咧，就係 exact rhyme hero。呢啲有寫出嚟嗰啲咧，淺色呢啲藍色，即係唔係粗體嗰啲咧，都係 rhyme， 但係唔係最好嘅 rhyme。然後灰色係再次一級咯，當然係明白三種，深藍最好，深藍粗體最好，然後深藍，然後係灰色。咁你發現 hero 咯喎 ，zero 咁就即係意思係話 hero 呢個字咧就可以咧擺喺你嘅 couplet 後面啦。如果你想你第一句嗰句句子結尾係 zero 嘅話，咁你喺度揾邊個咧？哦，咁你就知道你第二句你 couplet 同佢配搭嗰句就係應該用邊隻字啦。哦，原來結尾啦，原來就係 hero。咁你亦都可以得出個結論，就係頭先嗰首詩裏面第一句嗰個講起高同埋 zero， 即係呢首詩唔係一個 exact rhyme 嚟嘅。咁而且我哋嘅直頭可以望埋落去。呢啲咧叫做 almost rhyme 啦，咁高喺邊咧？高原來咧直頭喺呢度都唔見嘅，咁呢個就我冇諗到。Okay, I did not expect that like they don't rhyme at all anyway, but it looks like they rhyme, but they don't. They don't even rhyme anyway. That means that like at least in your like doing your writing, and you're supposed to find something like end with like the identical like alphabet. And then I'll show you another one, like another word here. So how about left and that? Just curious. Okay, now like we try another word. Like in stanza 1 for the traveling corn, it has the word like left, and then like the one that like end with like that. So you see that here, and then like there's some word that you may recognize. Depth, and then like theft. Okay, where's theft? And then if you like go like further down, and then you will find that like okay, and you even find that this word like they don't go like perfect rhyme, but like anyway. So say that like your poem I suppose like to wrote like oh something theft. Something left, make sure that like your last word end with like a fact. Even if like say that like oh even the example poem they don't give you like the identical one, but I really hope that like you will use the rhyme song that is rhyming dictionary to find the word that like you need here, theft. Alright? Or you can even like oh like what other word like here like okay chest, fast, past, just, last, rest, arrest. There's a lot of words like that in almost rhyme with the word left. So make sure that like you look for this word when you write your poem and then like for your homework like for tomorrow. But I explain a little bit more like for tomorrow lecture slides. Okay. So and then like we can always like count the so we already done like counting the meter and knowing the rhyme scheme and like a couplet and then like and on and make sure you write like 2 stanzas. But like that's some other things that you're supposed to do. So for this one, and you are supposed to do today's homework for like this one. Now you understand the poem and then like you need to like to do this exercise on like page 101 and I'll explain the answer for tomorrow. And then like make sure that like okay, how about we just like go back and explain like the imagery part. So this is like a poem for like the road not taken, and then like I'll tell you why it like strike an image like about this poem. So 2 rows diverge in a yellow wood. That means that like okay, you can even like draw it out here. And you can even like draw it here, and then like 2 rows diverge in a yellow wood, and maybe you found, and then wood, that means that like a forest, and then like the poet, he found that himself here. He was just like found it like he was in a forest, and he found like 2 rows. And then it's sorry, I could not cover. And then like next slide. Okay, now you got the idea. And then like and sorry, I could not travel both, and be one traveler long I stood. That means that like he could not like walk, cause there's only one person, right? He can't walk on like both sides of the road, and he just decided like standing at a crossroad, like 2 rows like facing in front. And then he decided which way to go, and then looked down one as far as I could, and then meaning that like he just looked like to see like to the furthest end where he can go for like this road to where it bent in the other road. I mean like 100 Juma. So it just like give you really cool imagery about like when the narrator, that means the poet himself, like standing in the wood, and what do you think like he's having? He's like having a he's having a dilemma. Okay, he's having a dilemma. That means like he couldn't decide like which way to go. Should I go like this way? Should I go that way? Or like where we are from? There's something like interesting about like a poem is that like it strikes you the really clear image. The poet, like the narrator himself, he could not decide. And then like when the dinosaur gets fair and we just keep talking about it, then look the other as just as fair and having perhaps a better claim. It was glassy and wanted wear, and then he just like basically laying down all his reasoning right here. Like okay, so should I go this way? Should I go that way? Oh, because this one is like glossy and wanted wear. I mean that like oh like some more like grass, and then like they actually look better. And then like at the end, and then even then like at the end, he decided like which way he should go. And then it's like okay, I should just like I should like couldn't decide like which way should I go. And then like and he decided like to walk on a road that like fewer people had stepped on. And he believed that decision he made is like it make all the differences in the world. But anyway, but it just strikes you the image about the dilemma. So make sure that like when you write a poem, you have to pay attention, like not other than like all this poetic device. That means that like stanza, rhyming scheme, couplet, and meter. You also have to pay attention to the imagery. Can you paint a picture of your poem? Like your narrator, what is the poems about? Like this is something like coolest thing about like poem. But anyway, like we'll go back like to talk more about it tomorrow, and then I'll see you tomorrow then. Have a good day.